Traditional squatting has lost its luster in the biomechanics world. And so what we try to teach now is what's known as a hip hinge. So the squatting pattern, the reason it's failing is because there's too much forward movement into the kneecaps, toward the kneecaps. So even wall squatting is something that we discourage. So an alternative to it is to use anything that you can get your shins up against. You want to make sure you're below the kneecap. It's important to be below the kneecap, but anything that will support the shins from moving forward. A coffee table. I've got two chairs set up here, and I get my feet about hip width apart. A little wider than hip width apart is typically the best idea in the beginning. I want to put my hands here because eventually I can use a weight, and this can actually become very effective cardio that we do in another video. So if I set my hands up here, well, I want to be conscious of my shoulders. So if I pull my shoulder blades back and down just a little bit, you don't have to work hard at it. Keep my eyes kind of glancing up. You're going to sit back into this hip hinge. So the idea is that my back stays nice and flat, and my rear end, my tailbone, essentially telescopes back. Now, some people get some feedback in the beginning in their upper back or their middle back in here. If that's the case, it's a good indication. It's actually diagnostic that there's some tightness through the hips. And so widening the feet will often remedy that. The wider you need to get, there's no problem with that. If you need to get nice and wide, the wider the better. It helps you to keep a flatter back. The other important element is to make sure that the chest doesn't come forward. So keeping the eyes up is always a good cue. But if the chest starts to roll forward, you're going to immediately feel the low back. If you feel anything in the low back, you can be assured that you need some support up in here. So if I put my hands up against the wall here, I keep my eyes glancing up. And all it is that I'm trying to do is get used to this pattern of sitting my tailbone back and then standing up all the way. And make sure when you stand up all the way. See how I kind of squeeze and kick my hips forward a little bit. The majority of people, when they stand up, are going to stand up a little bit short here. You need to finish fully through your hips. Your glutes should be tight at the top of the movement.